Enemies of the peoples of the entire, very, very important concept to understand how the patriotism in Vietnam is indeed internationalism. And when that struggle is over, it'll be carried further to socialism. But right now, a term, they always look at that term in terms of its historic, what it objectively causes, the objective results of it. So patriotism, who'd like to read next? Yeah.
What kind of spirit is this that makes a foreigner selfishly adopt the cause of the Chinese people's liberation as his own? It is the spirit of internationalism, the spirit of communism, from which every Chinese communist must learn. We must unite with the proletariat of all the capitalist countries, with the proletariat of Japan, Britain, the United States, Germany, Italy, and all other capitalists.
A little bit. Do you know a little bit about who Norman Bethune was? Because in this article it talks generally about it, but do you know who he was and what he did?
I know he was a doctor, and that he traveled to many different countries and helped people as much as he could. Out of love for the people.
Brother, would you like to add to that?
And he was a revolutionary, and just as it said here, he was an internationalist. He sided with power.
And after that, he went on to China. The brother stated he died of blood poisoning.
Anybody of one race over another, the superiority of one nation over another, they started relating to people.
In their own revolution to help those still struggling for liberation. This is our internationalist duty. I'm saying, in the people's struggle for liberation within the country, they must not rely on foreign aid. They must welcome foreign aid, but they must build their tactics and their strategic thinking on the sources of their own people, and not other countries who have been victorious in their just struggle for liberation. So the people who have triumphed in their revolution should still help those struggling for liberation. An example is China helping Cuba by sending food supplies, tractors, socialist camps. This is not brought about in States Liberation.
I'd like to relate it to this situation in this country. Black people here in the
struggle. Also, in following the principle of class struggle, persons that waged the war before to go ahead and align themselves with us, because it's not just.
In the Soviet Union, they had a successful revolution, and for many years they were the vanguard of the people's revolution around the world. But unfortunately, in the Soviet Union, the consciousness of the masses and of the party wasn't raised to such a high level that they maintained this, you see, because as Mao explains, and as we see going on in China, in order to change the society, their struggles are going to continue for hundreds and hundreds of thousands of years, because there's always contradictions arising. And when a new socialist country emerges after a revolution, after a socialist revolution, the powers of capitalism, especially when it was the first socialist country, are very strong and had to be guarded against very closely. And what happened was they built up an economy, a very powerful economy, like Iraq, which has a Shah, which is oppressing the people. The Soviet Union is aligned with the Shah of this country. The countries are run, they're aligned with the Shah of this country, and they're exchanging oil and goods, and in fact helping the counter-revolutionary forces, while within that country the Shah is oppressing the masses of the Iranian people. Yes?
Another point I'd like to brought out by the Soviet Union is that they had this Communist Party conference, and four of the great leaders who are leading a real fight against the U.S. aggressors and U.S. imperialists and the imperialist powers all around the world. Ho Chi Minh of Vietnam, Fidel Castro, Chairman Mao, and his close comrades in arms, NPR, refused.
We can't control. But for example, Khrushchev, he came from a mining family, a family of miners. So he did come from a working family. When you read about Khrushchev's life, you'll find this out. But what happened was he was able to get an education, to rise in the bureaucratic circle, and soon his objective means, his objective way of life then changed. He rejected his own class, you see. And the revolution is connections and education, you see.
Yeah.
And this is why when we look at socialist countries, the educational system is so crucial, you see, because what happened in the Soviet Union was tests. They started giving these kids tests, so naturally the children of working class families didn't do so well, just like here, black children don't do so well on those IQ tests, and children who came from intellectual families, you know, in other words, a petty bourgeois background, a higher class origin, made it to the universities. And this is how your privileged strata continue to exist. And education was looked at very one-sidedly, and its political importance, and the importance of a person's political outlook, in addition to his education, was not stressed. So you would have technicians, but they wouldn't be communists, and they wouldn't understand concepts to serve the people. And they became a privileged strata. But
For a long time, he was hiding, saying, back in the party, he was a Menshevik, what is called a person who wants to deal and go through world revolution through parliamentary procedures, so to speak, on a peaceful kind of basis. Because you can see this in his constant visits to the U.S. And there's no premier